whiskery little pet.
What in hell?
Because you are a worm.
Alas, death does not often allow us to have much choice in the matter.
Says here she doesn't leave home unless she has to.
Indeed, it is a puzzle, as elder vampires can often be.
I sure do hope I can help her.
You will do your best, I know. Let me allow you some privacy. She comes.
Hello?
Hey there, how do I say your name? Is it, Medbug? Medbee?
Mev is my real name. Medbee's just my screen name. You can call me Medi if you like.
Oh, mighty fine meeting you, Meddy. I'm Sam.
Is that all you are?
I couldn't rightly say. I ain't no more or less than Sam.
You're a cute, strange cowboy man.
I don't know that you should be calling your potential therapist cute, miss.
Not in a touching bodies way. I mean, you're more like a rabbit or a mouse. Oh, I want to dress you up in a little mouse onesie and watch you scurry about. You can keep your hat on and be a little cowboy mouse. Oh, I like that very much. I'd keep you in a little cage and give you lots of cheese and, of course, a wheel to run on. You can be my whiskery little pet.
What is the matter, Samuel?
I think I'm out of my depth here, Chief. I ain't keen to be anyone's pet.
Older vampires such as myself can sometimes be uncomfortable to be around. I believe this will be an excellent challenge in setting boundaries, Samuel. Explain to her your boundaries. You will be modeling positive behavior and saving yourself a little trouble.
Yeah, just a little.
All the more reason to be clear and polite right now. Good luck, Samuel. I know you can do it.
You look distracted, little mouse. Have you smelt a bit of cheese? Did your whiskers twitch?
All right, miss, before we keep going, I think we need to set a few boundaries. This stuff about putting me in a cage and making me your pet are things you should be doing with a blood partner. Besides, I make the rules about my own body. If I don't want something, you gotta respect it or find a new therapist.
You don't want me to do things to your body?
You cut that out. I'm serious now.
Very well. Be that way.
First of all, I ain't gonna wear no onesie. I don't think I could find one that'd fit.
I could sew one for you. I would make the neck hole really big so that your funny hat would fit right through it.
Okay, well maybe I wasn't being clear. I don't want to wear a onesie.
But it would make me happy.
Well, it wouldn't make me happy, miss.
Fine. But I don't like it.
I don't eat cheese, you know that. We only drink blood anyway. Mortal food doesn't exactly agree with us.
But a mouse who doesn't eat cheese is hardly a mouse.
But I'm not a mouse.
Then why do you have twitchy whiskers?
I just like the way they look.
So do I. That's why I think you should eat some cheese.
Well, I ain't gonna. Take it or leave it.
You're very mean for a mouse.
I think that about covers it.
Very well. It's a little boring. People usually let me do what I want to do to them.
Well, this is less boring then. It's something new.
I suppose you're right. It's very clever, strange cowboy man. May I still call you a mouse from time to time, though?
If it'll make you feel comfortable, I guess it ain't hurting me. But let's get to you and why you're here. Now, it said on your intake form that you're overworked, it said. You're not my first client with that problem. What line of work are you in?
I play video games.
Video games? Like Star Invaders?
No, silly. More like Overcharged 2 and Pension Impact. More of an FPS and RPG girl.
I don't know what them things are. I kind of figured video games were just a fad, like collecting ferns was in my time.
Video games are lots of fun. There's even one where you get to play a cowboy and kill bunches and bunches of people. Then you get to pretend you feel bad about it. But after that, you kill even more people.
Shucks, that there might give me some flashbacks. But you're working by playing video games? How's that?
I stream on Glitch. I have millions and millions of followers there.
Wait just a gosh darn minute. People are paying to watch you pee?
Of course not. That sort of thing would be on my Only Zealots page. If I could pee. Which I can't, because I'm a vampire.
Alright, you gotta walk me through this. What's streaming mean if it ain't peeing?
Streaming means to share your computer screen to the internet.
Like watching the cinema, only instead of people shooting each other, it's you answering emails?
Sort of. Mostly people just like to watch people shooting other people. Only it's little computer people that only look like people.
Clear as mud. I got some more questions about them funny things you mentioned, though. What's Only Zealots?
That's a very special website where my very special followers get to see me do naughty things for money.
You've been around a long while. Do you need money?
No, of course not. But I do like having mortal blood bags who will do anything for me. They're very useful.
This whole thing makes me feel old.
But you're only a baby vampire, strange cowboy man. I'm glad you're not the kind of baby who poops and pees, though. That's quite icky.
I had some more questions. What's all this RPG and FPS stuff?
Role-playing games and first-person shooters.
Kinda dark to be playing games about the first person you ever shot. That ain't a good moment.
You're extra silly. It's a video game with a first-person perspective. It only looks as though you're shooting someone. I like the ones where there's lots and lots of blood. I end up feeling quite hungry.
Are they still using corn syrup to look like blood? It never looked realistic to me.
They don't use corn syrup in video games. You're very funny.
I'm glad I'm funny, I guess. Let me ask you something else about these video games. Alright, I think I understand a little better. You're working pretty dang hard for all them followers. What do you need them for?
Lots of things. They pay my rent for me, buy clothes and gifts for me. They dispose of all the bodies. And they let me kill them too. They're all so eager to die. Poor little lambs.
They're like servants?
Servants, little sheep, whatever you'd like to call them.
And they're willing to just up and die for you?
Oh, naturally. Sometimes all I have to do is smile for them. They find it enchanting. And they quite like my breasts and vulva.
Oh, I see.
Does it make you uncomfortable to hear me say breasts and vulva?
I reckon I just wasn't expecting that level of candidness.
Breasts, vulva.
Hey, come on now.
Oh, but it's so much fun to watch your little whiskers twitch.
So, these followers of yours do a lot of work for you, huh?
But I have almost 100 million little sheep. It's rather difficult to manage them all and keep them happy.
Why do you need to keep so many servants happy?
I need my sheep. If I don't have them, I'll have nothing.
Is it really true that if you don't have your followers, you won't have anything? Ain't you got other stuff you're interested in?
Suppose I enjoy reading and video games. And I can do those things alone. There's also playing games with my body.
Oh, yep, there's that.
Which Americans don't do. You like to shoot people instead. Bang, pow,
That ain't always true. But let's get back to what you were saying.
If I don't make them all happy, they'll turn against me.
That's some pretty extreme thinking. Your followers can't all be that fickle. The idea that you can make everyone happy is something that ain't in anyone's power. And assuming you have no control and they'll all turn against you ain't true either.
That's true, I suppose. I can do things you couldn't dream of. But I won't show them to you because you're an American.
That is much appreciated, miss. And now about the stuff you were saying.
All I'll be is the lonely, crazy girl with a flat full of stinky corpses.
Let's ease off them labeling terms. Don't go calling yourself crazy.
But I am crazy. And I know how strange I sound to these short-lived creatures.
I reckon I might sound the same if I were around as long as you and seen some of the stuff you've seen. Besides, crazy ain't got any kind of real meaning. What's sane? You've been around a while, you know them definitions change all the time.
I suppose that's true. Don't think any of us are really sane.
I think that's a heck of a lot closer to the truth.
I just want to look at my body parts anyway. Don't have much else to share, it seems.
Come on now, you've been around for nearly 2,000 years. How in the heck could you have nothing to offer? I'm sure you could tell me all sorts of things about history and the places you've been to and the things you've done.
If I talk about things I like, my followers abandon me. Fickle little bloodbags. You always like it when I show off, though.
That's a problem with your followers, not you. Don't go disqualifying the positive things about yourself just because they don't see them.
You're very kind, Manling. If you were one of my followers, I might even let you live.
A very kind gesture, miss.
I can't help but think, though, I should make my little sheep happy. After all, they are willing to die for me.
You say you should keep your followers happy. Do you like it when they're happy?
Just because I kill my bloodbags doesn't mean I wish to be cruel. After all, they're so cute when they die with smiles on their precious little faces.
I'm glad to hear that, but here's the thing. When you say you should make them happy, you turn it into a responsibility. If you got 100 million people you should please, that's pressure you don't need. Get what I'm saying?
You are too sweet, little mouse. Like a sugar mouse. Someone might try to eat you.
Heck, they already did. How do you think I turned into a vampire?
You make me seem very silly for worrying so much about my blood bags. Not a very good vampire, am I?
Well, what's a good vampire supposed to do?
My blood father used to tell me that we were supposed to be gods. Told me that we would rule all humanity. I imagine he'd be ever so disappointed in me.
Well, blood parents are always complicated. They like continuing their legacies, but people ain't too good at being anything but themselves.
I wish someone would tell him that. He's a very bad listener.
Well, you should be proud of yourself for getting away from him. I know it ain't easy.
I didn't leave him. The druids sealed him away long ago. But slow our soul when he escapes. And there will be nothing we can do. Oh, it's gonna be ever so much blood.
I think we can handle a vampire. There's a lot more of us now, and I bet the bastard ain't even heard of a gun.
You don't understand. He's a wizard.
The last I heard, wizards ain't bulletproof. Let's give ourselves a little credit. I ain't gonna worry too much about this fella. Besides, if he is coming back to kill us all, we only got so much time to enjoy, right? These dang followers of yours have got you stuck at home, though.
It's better this way. It's not safe outside.
Well, why do you say that?
Because there are bad people out there. They've tried to burn me, touch me, enslave me. They are cruel, horrible.
I know you've been through some tough times, Mitty, and you got a hell of a lot of reasons to think people are all awful. But those experiences ain't the be-all and end-all. There's a lot of bad, a lot of good, and even more in between.
Maybe. But it's safer to assume that it's all bad. Mortals are very afraid, and when mortals are afraid, they are quite cruel.
That's more of that all-or-nothing thinking. There's billions of people out there now, and more differences between each and every one of them than you'd expect.
But I don't need to endanger myself anymore. I have my sheep.
I'm sure we'll get to talking about them real soon.
We can talk about them now. They help me stay in my flat. If I stay in one place, I have power. Instead of them burning me, I can burn them. And touch them and enslave them.
With all due respect, miss, you're playing with sunshine here. Life is always going to change. That's the one thing we can be sure of. Your retreating from society is only going to make it harder to face the changes ahead.
Such as when the machines arrived.
What machines are you talking about?
The ones in the factories. The ones who made me leave the bog. Did not like that very much. Not at all.
Oh, look, I didn't want to upset you. You're here to handle the world a little better, and that means being honest about what might happen. That makes sense?
Yes. The machines keep getting stronger. I should be ready for them.
All right. Well, let's keep talking.
They used to call me Calich Namona, the Witch of the Bogs. I like it that way. I like it when they think I'm a monster.
Hold on a sec, Mitty. I get that there's safety in people thinking you're some kind of monster. But what I can't abide is you calling yourself one. Names have power. You know what they used to call me?
Fuzzy McWhiskers. Scaly Tail Sam. Ooh, Scurrying Sam.
They called me Slaughterin' Sam. And as you might imagine, I didn't earn many friends with that name.
That's not very cute at all.
No, it ain't. I didn't feel cute neither. I felt like an evil bastard, and that ain't a good feeling.
It didn't say I liked being a monster. It just makes me feel safe.
Then let's find a way to help you feel safe without calling yourself a monster then, huh?
If I want to be safe, I should show them what a monster I really am from the safety of my lair.
Well, why should you show them what a monster you are?
So that they'll know to stay away, of course.
And is that the only way people will stay away?
It's the way I know. I used to put severed heads outside my cottage, but the policemen don't like that very much.
So what if I said you should protect yourself by putting severed heads outside your place again?
I'd say you should learn otherwise. The police can be very mean.
That's what I mean. Should doesn't allow a lot of wiggle room. It might seem like it's just words, but them words can lock us up tighter in a bank vault. But let's keep talking.
Living alone is the life I know, anyway. Well, I've known for millennia. I can't survive in society now.
You know, you're what, some 1,800 years old? You're older than any government on Earth. You've seen the world change in ways none of us could dream of. Hell, you basically won the internet, and I can barely open up my Vmail program. You're way more capable than you're giving yourself credit for.
I suppose that's true. But I'm not very good with real-life people. Unless I'm eating them.
You're still disqualifying the positive by canceling out all them skills you got. You can use all that modern lingo I've barely even heard of. You dab fam?
That was ages ago.
See what I'm saying?
You are very clever, sweetling. It is easy to forget how small and weak mortals are. The world is a big place full of things that might try to hurt me.
Well, before you face the world, why don't we start with your neighborhood? Let's start slow. Take a walk around your block, 15 minutes a day. Just spend a little time outside looking at the moon.
I suppose if anyone tries to hurt me, I should be able to kill them or enslave them. Very well, strange cowboy man. If anyone does kill me, I'll simply become a ghost. Then I can whisk myself up your bottom with a little ghost needle and poke at your guts.
I don't think it'll come to that. Just spend some time outside and see how you feel, and we'll talk again in a month. Sound good?
Very well. I suppose my followers outside must be eager to carry my coffin home. Promised I would eat them when we got there, so shouldn't keep them waiting. Farewell then, little mouse.
Hoo-wee!
Well done, my friend. You seem a little out of sorts. Are you quite all right?
She was something else.
Like so many of our kind, she simply struggles to adjust to a constantly changing world. I think you will be of great help to her. She clearly likes you.
That's what I'm afraid of.
You are under my protection while you are here, Samuel. I guarantee no ghosts will travel up your posterior. You have done excellent work tonight. Please, relax downstairs. Summer will be here before we know it, and the nights shall become short once again. Rest in peace, my friend.
Tarnation. I'm glad the kids here aren't glued to their little TVs. I wonder why that is. Hope they have crimson nose.
Giddy up, little doggy.
I ain't heard that one in a while.
Truth is, I'm running out of cowboy terms. What can I get you, handsome?
How about a kind ear for my troubles?
You got a real old school way of seeing bartenders. But in this case, you're right. I am a good listener. Lay it on me.
I got this new client. Makes me feel old.
250-year-old man feels old, huh?
Yeah. But seriously, I thought I understood people, but she's from another time, like. I've been around a long time, and I ain't seen nothing quite like this internet. But my client lives there.
And you think you can't help her because you don't understand the internet?
I reckon I can be of some aid. Just gotta figure out all this technology. My dial-up modem might not be up to today's standard.
Maybe you were right. You are ancient. But I'm glad you're feeling confident, cowboy. A vampire who can adapt is a mighty fine one.
Gosh.
Here's the thing, cowboy. Nobody understands the internet. I don't feel old yet, though. Still just glad to be alive, thanks to Andy's blood.
Oh, yeah?
I know you've been curious about why I've been drinking vampire blood. You don't have to pretend. I've got a rare blood cancer. Andy's blood is what's keeping me alive.
Oh, I'm real sorry.
I didn't say I was dying. I said I had cancer. Stop making that face. I'm just glad I found Andy. Don't think I was quite ready to die.
I, for one, am glad you're sticking around, Crimson.
Well, thank you kindly. So what'll it be, Sam? You ain't gonna dance?
No, I ain't gonna dance.
You owe me that story one day, cowboy. Here, have a little something I whipped up for Andy. Herbal blood tea.
No garlic, right?
No garlic.
Mighty kind of you. Maybe I'll take a nightcap. You have yourself a fine night, Crimson.
Adios, muchacho.
I think that's my last client for a while. My caseload's big enough. I'm starting to get overwhelmed. Maybe something from one of my books will inspire me. But then again, I could watch cartoons instead. I used to have a crush on Betty Boop, and I ain't ashamed. They don't make them like they used to. I think that's enough action for one night. Time I got me some shut-eye. Good night, son.
A fine evening to you, Samuel. How are you feeling tonight?
Not bad, not bad. A little overwhelmed, but I guess I kind of have a lot going on these days.
Indeed you do. The mind is an easy place to get lost in, is it not?
You ain't kidding. Keeping all them cognitive distortions in my head and sorting through all my clients' problems ain't easy.
We are not machines, Samuel. I believe you will find that you can never handle everything at once. There is a term the mortals use these days, multitasking. It's a kind of meta-control fallacy. Even we must handle thoughts one at a time.
I guess. I just hope I can concentrate on my own therapy with all this stuff bouncing around in my noggin.
I do not expect you to be an exception to the rule, my dear fellow. Let us see whether we can clear your head. I would like to introduce you to a ritual I have learned for stealing the mind.
This some kind of ancient vampire secret? Something the old ones gave you that's been lost to time? Something mortals could never imagine?
No, it's just meditation.
Oh.
That does not make the technique any less valuable. Now then, close your eyes. I will guide you through this process. Think of a place that brings you comfort. Where is it?
I'd have to say the woods. I always liked being in nature.
Then imagine the woods and let your thoughts come to you. Breathe in and breathe out. I shall let you begin.
I ain't cut out for this therapy thing. Andy sure is a tall glass of water. I miss my princess. I kinda miss farting. Focus, Sam, focus. Who's got a pretty mane? Wonder what's on Batflix. Should I hook up with Reinhardt? I'm so bad at meditating. I like blood from San Antonio, not New York City. Relax, ain't no vampire hunters here. Who's my favorite horse? Is it you?
How are you feeling now?
Yeah, all right. Fine, really. All them thoughts just feel like thoughts.
What sorts of things came up for you?
Well, I thought about my clients. I thought about all them cognitive distortions. My horse came up a lot.
Your horse?
Yeah, Princess. She was my horse back when I was alive. I still think about her every day. I can't really stop.
I understand. I have bonded with many horses in my own life, but it sounds as though the loss of Princess was particularly fraught.
Yeah.
Would you like to start there?
Not sure I'd like it, but seeing as it's come up, maybe we should talk about what happened to her. It's got a lot to do with my old gang. I mentioned them before. Well, the Mystic Bastards was their name. They were the gang to join if you had nothing to lose, and I had nothing to lose.
That sounds like some Nosferatu thinking, my friend.
Oh, I can see that now. But it turned out I still did have something to lose. And they took that from me to prove my loyalty. They took my princess, killed her in cold blood, and made me watch the whole thing. They made sure she saw me too.
Oh, Samuel, I am so sorry.
I just stood there, watching her dying, with them big eyes looking at me like she knew I betrayed her. They knew what it would take to break me. And it's my fault for letting them do it.
But Samuel, these Mystic Bastards, it sounds as though these loyalty tests were a cruel, mechanical part of their indoctrination process. These are the actions of a cult. They had no special care for you or your princess.
Well, sure as shit worked. They knew where to hit me, and it's my fault for letting it happen.
What they did, Samuel, had little to do with you personally. You were vulnerable, and they took advantage. This is what cults do. But Samuel, you are exhibiting a cognitive distortion known as personalization. You are attributing the Mystic Bastard's actions entirely to your own supposed failings. While it is natural to grieve for your horse, holding yourself solely responsible is neither fair nor accurate.
Hold on a sec, my head's hurting. I can't hold on to all them distortions all the time. Ain't personalization a lot like a control fallacy?
An astute observation, Samuel. Personalizations are often a form of control fallacy. While control fallacies often manifest as a belief that you have more control over external events than is actually the case, personalization is a more specific tendency to believe that external events are reactions to you. But let us leave control fallacies out of the picture for now. You are correct that keeping all distortions in mind at once is unrealistic. I would not interrupt your thoughts if I did not think personalization important. You are shouldering the blame for Princess's death. I can see that.
Well, if it ain't my fault, who else's is it?
The Mystic Bastards, of course. Let me put it into perspective for you. I will make a series of statements, and you help me identify the personalization distortion. I overslept in my coffin because I forgot to set my alarm. I bit Crimson's neck last night and missed the vein because I was distracted. It was entirely my fault. Batflix raised my subscription price again because they knew I would pay no matter what.
Well, that's the personalization. Batflix has no earthly clue who you are. They just raise their subscription prices anyway.
Just as your gang planned to isolate members from their former lives. Do you see the connection?
I guess so. I was just too stupid to see it at the time.
Ah, calling yourself stupid is what distortion?
Yeah, it's labeling. But I should have known anyway. I knew that crew was bad news. I just thought I was bad news too.
You should have known. That's another distortion of reality, Samuel.
All right, fine. Should statement, whatever. So what the hell am I supposed to do, Andy? Say nothing's ever my fault and I don't gotta know nothing? I was responsible for getting that beautiful horse killed. She trusted me, and if I'd been someone else, she wouldn't have had to die in that awful way.
I am not asking you to lie to yourself. Far from it. And I am not suggesting that you absolve yourself of all responsibility. But what would you say if a friend came to you with the same story? Would you tell them what they should have done? Would you call them stupid? You said yourself that you joined your gang because they were the gang to join if you had nothing to lose. I do not think this is a circumstance most people choose.
Yeah, I suppose.
Remember, Samuel, we are trying to reframe our thinking by clarifying these distortions. I know it may feel as though I am picking on you, but I am not. Let us forget what you should have done to make room for a different distortion. You are drawing a direct link from your emotion to the death of your horse. This is a distortion called emotional reasoning. I understand the guilt you feel, Samuel, but your guilt does not act on its own. This terrible thing, it did happen, and some choices you made undoubtedly created the circumstances for it to occur. You are not blameless, but let us restrict your blame to what you have actually done.
I'm sorry. I get awful worked up when talking about my princess. You should have seen her, Andy. She had these eyes. She looked right into my tainted soul and still loved me.
I understand, Samuel. We feel tremendous guilt when we fail an animal. When we look at reality, it is not to dismiss our burdens, but to process them fairly. I would like you to understand emotional reasoning so you can see how emotions color our thoughts. Please listen, and call me out when I am using emotional reasoning. I feel anxious. Perhaps it is the garlic naan I smell from the Indian restaurant next door. The mood in my club is somber tonight. I am sure it is a reflection of my own dark mood.
That's the emotional reasoning right there. I don't think them folk in the club know too much about how you're feeling.
Exactly. Our emotions can feel all-encompassing, and that is purely biological. We are animals, Samuel. There is a small cluster of brain tissue at the base of the cranium that tells us we are safe or that we are about to die. The complexity of our existence is at odds with our biology, but we have the logic to recognize it.
Well, if reincarnation's a thing, I think I'd rather come back as a horse.
It is indeed a boon and a curse to have human complexity of thought.
No kidding. If I were a horse, I'd know better than to join any cowboy gang, let alone the Mystic Bastards. I'd be happy with a bag of oats and a field to run around in.
How did you end up with the Mystic Bastards in the first place?
Well, like I said, I didn't have much choice. Nobody would have taken me in at that point, except a hangman, maybe. I wasn't a vampire yet, so hanging didn't sound too appealing. The last job I did got my brother killed, and after that, my wife left with my daughter and I never saw him again. Can't say I blame her. I didn't have nobody. Ain't no surprise that a vampire gang would be the only people to take me in.
Aha, so that is how you turned.
Yes, sir. It wasn't pleasant. Not the candlelight and writhing body sort of affair you see in mortal vampire stories.
That is terrible, Samuel. The turning is never easy. How did they find you?
That job that got my brother killed, we partnered up with one of them Mystic Bastards for it. He knew where to find me.
And he knew you were vulnerable and that you had no place to go.
I've thought about that. Were they setting me up all along? Maybe. But whether they were or not, I really didn't have any place to go. I know when them wanted dead or alive posters go up, folk find dead easier and more fun. People saw me as outlaw scum when I was a kid, and there was no way they were going to be kinder knowing I was in a gang.
You know this for a fact. You are certain that no one would have any pity on you at all, that your only recourse was to join your gang?
I guess I don't actually know that no one but the bastards would have taken me in. Sounds like a cognitive distortion, huh?
I think you see the patterns now. It may seem like pedantry, and perhaps it is, but pedantry is the search for ultimate truth.
Spoken like a true pedant.
It comes with being terrifyingly old. You discovered the cognitive distortion before I could point it out to you. It is a cognitive distortion similar to Nosferatu thinking, so let us put that particular distortion out of our minds for now. Yes, things were grim for you, but your experiences caused you to assume that there were none who would favor you with a kind eye. You were exhibiting the cognitive distortion of overgeneralization, the idea that no mortal could accept you. This clouded truth made you vulnerable to the mystic bastard's approach.
Damn. Maybe you ain't wrong, huh? I should have joined the Foreign Legion or something. Dang it, should statement.
Your mind is not a cognitive distortion shooting gallery, Samuel. Cut yourself some slack. All we seek is recognition of our distortions, not perfection and not punishment. Let us test your ability to recognize overgeneralization. Then I believe we will have covered enough for tonight. Allow me to begin. Elder vampires are insufferable. They all think they know everything.
Wait, ain't you an elder vampire? You don't seem like much of a know-it-all.
That's right, Samuel. Though in all honesty, I used to be quite insufferable myself. I aspire to be more patient these days. Let me continue. It seems to me that being a werewolf is pretty rough. Vampires from Transylvania all have funny accents. I want to suck your blood. Who talks like this?
That seems like an overgeneralization, Andy. I ain't sure any of them ever sounded like that. Pretty sure they all sound American these days anyway from watching bat flicks all the time.
Correct, Samuel. I apologize for the offensive accent. It was employed only to prove a point. Well done, Samuel. Your ability to identify cognitive distortions continues to impress. But let us bring things back to you. I do not ask you to absolve yourself of the things you have done. You did not have the tools to be mindful of the thought patterns that made you vulnerable to the mystic bastards. I have seen mindfulness take root in you, though, Samuel. I hope this session has been helpful to you.
Yeah, I'm still sad. I'm still regretful about Princess. I think I'll always be. My not being mindful is what killed her. Every time I think about it, I just know I'm a terrible person who messes everything up. But I think the awareness helps.
It does. Then please tell me what cognitive distortion you just exemplified. Was it emotional reasoning, overgeneralization, or personalization?
I guess it was kind of all of them.
Masterful deduction, Samuel. Your sense of self-awareness is most impressive. Remember, cognitive distortions are not a cudgel to beat yourself with.
Yeah, I was gonna ask about that. If we're spouting cognitive distortions all the time, ain't my clients gonna be mad at my constantly interrupting them?
You continue to impress. Yes, we cannot bully our clients with distortions. Thus, I find it is best to clear our minds and focus on a few during each session. Keeping endless distortions in mind is not easy for a therapist either, after all. I think we have done excellent work tonight, and I'm certain you've built up a thirst. I know this evening was emotionally intense. Ask Crimson for some scotch.
Drinking booze ain't exactly compatible with our biology, Andy.
By scotch, I mean Scottish blood. It's iron-rich and quite delicious. I age it in whiskey barrels.
That sounds pretty nice. I might just do that and call it an early night.
As you wish, Samuel. Rest well, and do not lasso yourself so tightly, as you say. You are deserving of love, especially from yourself.
I'm just gonna leave before I get more embarrassed.
Very well, Samuel. Rest in peace, my friend. Samuel, greetings. You are seeing Dr. Drain again tonight, yes?
That's right. I'm keen to see how he's getting on. That fella's got himself wrapped up real tight.
Do not expect too much change too quickly. It takes a while for thoughts to internalize, even when we know the truth of them logically. It took me only 2,800 years or so to internalize what I needed.
I don't think the doc's gonna be too keen to wait that long.
I do not think he will have to. Unlike myself, he has you to guide him.
Oh gosh, I barely know what I'm doing, boss. I'm not sure I can keep track of all these new distortions I know about.
I do not expect you to. We humans are distortion machines, my friend. But let us ensure we address Dr. Drain's core distortion. You know what it is, don't you?
That fella's a should statement machine, I'll tell you what.
That's right. We can be certain he will carry this distortion with him, but I would like you to pick the rest to keep in mind, Samuel. Up until this point, you have addressed client distortions in small clusters. But now that you are aware of more cognitive distortions, you will notice them everywhere. We must not use cognitive distortions as weapons to beat our clients with, so pick 4 more to keep in mind during your session.
But what do I do if I detect he's showing the distortions I'm putting aside?
You do not need to address all of them, my friend. You will not catch every distortion, and if you did, I believe your clients would find you irritating. I do not alert you to half of your cognitive distortions. We know that Dr. Drain will exhibit should statements. What else do you think he will come to this session with?
I think I've got what I need now.
Very good, Samuel. I will leave you to it. Have confidence. It is well earned.
I guess I just gotta believe you. All right, Andy, I'll do my best.
I know you will. I will see you after your session.
I think I'm ready, and here comes the man himself. Dr. Drain, good to see you again.
Yes, well, I wish I could say the same. I have not had the most productive month.
Back on this productive wagon, huh? Last time we were talking about all them should statements.
Yes, exactly. And what a waste of time that was. I took what we spoke about to heart, you know, like a fool. But the should statements, as you so tritely put them, were the only thing holding me together. You ignored the addiction problem I came to you with. Nay, worse, you told me it was fine. And oh, how eager I was to test that theory. I have partaken of my awful plasma almost every night. I am more monster than man now.
Compadre, you are a labeling machine tonight. Let's slow down and see if we can talk through what's been happening. Let's start with this monster label. Last time you told me that this plasma of yours just made you let loose a little. That don't sound too monstrous to me.
You forget, Sam. We are vampires. When we let loose, all the world suffers.
Sounds to me like we could be having a fruitful conversation about moderation.
I have a better idea. Seeing as you do not understand the gravity of the situation, I will make you understand. This is the plasma I've spoken of. Pure vampiric essence. I will show you how should statements are the remnants of our humanity. We should not be so quick to cast them away.
I agree with you that should statements are human, but that don't make them universal. That's the point I'm trying to make. There's lots of ways to live, Doc.
That is exactly the problem, Sam. We don't live. And this is the result most dire. Witness the wages of our sin.
Now hold on a sec, Doc. I think we better...
The time for caution is over. Goodbye, Sam.
What in hell?
Does it feel good to be alive? And who are you, darling?
I'm Sam. I'm your therapist, Doc. You know that.
My therapist! Oh, how wonderful. How absolutely pathetic. A vampire therapist. Oh, what a sad, pathetic waste you are, Dr. Drain. Allow me to introduce myself, then. I am Lord Lyridus, and unlike that sad sack of quivering shit you've been talking to, I am a vampire. I kill, I drink, I fuck, and I'm dead sexy.
Weren't you wearing glasses before?
I don't need glasses. Reading is what people do when they can't find anyone to fuck, which is not a problem I face.
Oh, you're missing out, fella. I got into reading after I died, and there's whole worlds to discover in books.
Oh, you're so fucking boring. There's a whole world to discover up my arse as well.
Well, you don't have to be so crass.
Yes, I see it in your eyes. You're afraid, aren't you, American? Your Puritan blood chills at the sight of me. Maybe I'll warm it up before I drain it from you and turn you into a husk with a stupid hat.
I wouldn't try it.
I'm not you, though, am I? And I am always hungry.
I suggest you stay right where you are.
A vampire with a gun? Oh, how our kind have fallen. What are you going to do, cowboy? Kill me?
Nope, but I can make sure the next few months ain't fun for you.
Oh, how very kind of you to care about me, darling. It'll be our dear Dr. Drain who suffers. But I need the little worm for now, so I suppose I'll let you live.
Mighty kind of you. Now you just settle on down and we're gonna have a chat.
Ugh, talking. We are animals. We are not meant for talking. But very well. At least give me something to drink. I can rely on your piteous human blood to do me that kindness, yes?
All right, but I'm watching you, hombre.
Look all you like. The show is free. This is better than the swill I usually prefer. I'm more of a quantity over quality sort of creature.
Yeah, I know your kind. I used to be a lot like you.
And I suppose now you are just as repressed as the sad creature that exerts control over this luscious body of mine.
I'm more free than I've ever been, but don't you worry about me. Let's talk about you.
You're going to psychoanalyze me. I live according to my nature. You might as well interview a lion.
We'll see about that. I'm sure you are the way you are for a reason.
You're not wrong about that. You know the answer already. Dr. Drain needs me. I am what is missing in his unlife. I am his hidden strength. I am his true essence. He is nothing without me, which he already realizes.
You're forgetting something. A lot of who you are is because of Dr. Drain. You know that fella denies himself a lot, and you do all them things he refrains from. Besides, didn't he make that plasma you sprung from?
Do you know? You're absolutely correct. Very well. I'll give the little twerp his credit. He did bring me into existence, and what a wonderful existence it is. Were you aware that vampires possess absolutely no gag reflex? I can prove it.
I don't mess with my clients.
But I'm not your client. That little rat man in tweed is. Of course he would deny himself the pleasure. You hear him talk about what he should do, but the sad creature cannot do those things. He should give in to me, and thanks to you, he has begun to.
Come on now, you're really countering his shoulds with your shoulds? I think that proves there ain't no such thing as a should everyone agrees on.
But my shoulds are so much more entertaining. His have only bred him hundreds of years of pathetic existence.
Well, that don't make a damn bit of difference. I bet there are vampires a hell of a lot more depraved than you who think you should be doing things differently.
Really? Oh, you must introduce me. If there are holes I don't know about, I should very much like to know where they are. There. How old are you anyway? Dr. Drain's been summoning me for 14 years now.
Oh, things are starting to make a lot more sense. You certainly sound like a 14-year-old.
The transformation has already begun. I will subsume him. His body and his mind will belong to me completely, and Dr. Drain will cease to be.
You're awful confident about that, but I got bad news for you. You don't control Dr. Drain, he controls you.
Oh, darling, the little doctor controls nothing at all, least of all himself. Make no mistake, he shall be mine.
Oh yeah, and how do you know that?
I know the little wretch far better than you do. He hasn't changed in centuries.
Was he in therapy then?
No, only in the modern age do we make do with such delusional exercises.
So not everything he does is predictable. I don't think you got a good reason to be so confident.
Are you trying to fill my head with doubts? Do you even think that such a thing is possible? There is no such thing as doubt for beings such as we. We live or we die. That's all. And I will live.
I notice a funny way you and Dr. Drain talk about each other, as though you're totally different people. You really think that's true?
Have you spoken with our pathetic little doctor? You know, he doesn't drink real blood. That's why he's so weak.
Hold on, how's he even alive if he's not drinking blood?
Oh, the little ball of shame didn't tell you. He's not even a vampire. He drinks that synthetic trash he produces instead of real blood.
You can't just discount everything about Dr. Drain just because he doesn't drink fresh blood. The guy's managed to live for 430 years. He's got to be doing something right. Besides, let's say you get your wish and everyone just becomes vampire food. Where are you going to get blood when everyone's dead?
Well, you raise a valid point. Perhaps I'll start a mortal farm. Yes, that's it. They'll walk on all fours and be completely naked at all times. I'll milk them each day and raise stud mortals. Oh, this has possibilities. Why, thank you, darling. Brilliance can come from such unlikely places.
Dang, I wish I hadn't mentioned it.
Why so shy, darling? You must have more experience than the dear doctor. I wouldn't be surprised if you were a 400-year-old virgin. If it weren't for me, his cock would have shriveled up like a raisin.
I think I'm gonna surprise you, Lord, whatever you're calling yourself, but I think you're right. Dr. Drain does need you. But like it or not, you need him too.
How very bloody dare you? What possible use could I have for a little turd like him?
Little turd. This Lord Lourdes is using quite colorful language to describe Dr. Drain, isn't he, Samuel?
How very bloody dare you? What possible use could I have for a little turd like him?
And none at all, long as you keep calling him names. You keep thinking of him as being a turd, and that's all he's gonna be. I admit, Dr. Drain might have a thing or two to learn from you, but he ain't gonna learn as long as you keep antagonizing him.
Oh, come now, the little worm likes it. He is far better at hating Dr. Drain than I am, and I find him entirely loathsome.
Then you ain't giving him room to grow. How would you feel if someone just called you an animal?
I am an animal, pure and perfect. I don't care what anyone thinks of me.
Vampires ain't animals, not even the worst of us. The moment we learned to talk and reason, living like beasts was out the window.
What a strange creature you are. You dress like a buffoon, but speak like a philosopher. The buffoon is the more admirable of the two. At least he's honest. You and Dr. Drain lie and lie and lie to justify your existence. It's ridiculous to suggest that I need him. What could I possibly need him for? When I tire, I sleep. When I lust, I fuck. When I thirst, I kill. As it should be.
There it is again, that simple thinking and them shoulds that are only yours. Come the hell on. You think we vampires should just go on autopilot? Fuck, sleep, kill, repeat?
Well, naturally, we should ensure that those things are fun. Otherwise, what's the point in doing them?
That's it right there. I agree with you entirely.
About time. I'll remove my clothing then. Or perhaps I'll remove yours.
Not so fast. You're missing the point. If we're doing these things because they're fun, well, everybody's got their own idea of fun. That's our human experience at work. Like me, for instance. I'm more of a high intimacy kind of lover.
Oh, boff. You managed to make even delightful things seem so heinous.
I'm only speaking the truth. What makes you so damn sure you know what being a vampire is anyway? Why do you think you've got it all figured out?
Lie to yourself all you like, darling. We're all alike. I know what you crave. Oh, that poor mortal had a family. Who gives a damn? I'm thirsty. That poor mortal must consume in order to live, and so must I. He simply pretends not to enjoy it. I don't need to do any such thing. I love to kill. I love the taste of blood. Why would I love it if it weren't the only way to live?
Point is, you're gonna get real fucking bored if you don't find a reason to do what you're doing.
Do you think I need a purpose? That's a mortal concern. I don't need a fucking legacy. I need blood. The only thing I should do is what I was made to do.
You're just as bad as Dr. Drain with all them should statements. He keeps talking about what he shouldn't do, and you keep talking about what you should do. You both act so damn sure of yourselves. You're so damn sure blood is all you need.
Oh, did I forget to mention all the fucking?
No, but hombre, you live forever. Food and sex is enough for animals. They got short lives. They get threatened and they die real quick. I know a lot of vampires who live like animals, and every single one of them is lost. Like him or not, Dr. Drain is your reason for living. Hell, if he didn't make this plasma stuff, you'd still be buried deep somewhere in his head.
Fuck you. Dr. Drain is a pathetic little liar, and I will destroy him. That's what he wants. Then I'll come for you.
If you're gonna kill me, you'd better be a quicker draw than I am. You wanna try your luck, compadre?
No need. I do thirst, though, and I smell something downstairs. I smell mortals and virgins. Oh, how delicious. You've been holding out on me, cowboy.
You can drink what's in that bottle till Dr. Drain comes back. I ain't letting the likes of you near them people.
At least you're aware enough to know that I am a ravenous beast. And beast that I am, I must kill.
You will do no such thing to my mortals. Restrain yourself.
Oh, now who is this beautiful morsel?
I am far older than any blood you have ever tasted, whelp. Do not dare to think you can overpower me.
Don't threaten me with a good time, Daddy.
I will keep this poor animal contained, Samuel. You did excellent work in handling him. Deserve some rest. I will meet with you later.
If you're sure.
Do not worry. I have no need to hurt him.
Well, now I'm just disappointed.
All right, Andy. I'll talk to you later. And Lord Lurid, or whatever your name is, think about what we talked about, huh? Dr. Drain's got something you need.
Oh, Vom, get out of here already.
Not you two. Tarnation. Barely walked out of that one alive. And I thought therapy was just talking. I could use a drink. Well, I could use a drink.
If it isn't the Lone Ranger.
Hey, Crimson.
You look a little down, cowboy. Have a shot.
I don't mind if I do.
Rough one tonight.
Well, you could say that. My client went a little feral. Tried to attack me.
That ain't good. I hope you booted their ass out.
Well, here's the thing. He wasn't himself. The fella, he can't stand being a vampire, so the vampire comes out in nasty ways.
Don't put yourself into too much danger, cowboy. Cleaning up a pile of ashes isn't my idea of a good night. So what? He just went and turned into a monster?
More or less. Went from a restrained fella to a hedonist beast.
How do you think you handled it?
I think I did all right. I learned a whole bunch of cognitive distortions now, so I was still able to challenge the beast. Well, the way I figure it, he's still desperate for help, even if he doesn't act like it.
I can see why Andy likes you. A heart's still beating in there.
I'm a creature of the night, too. I just want to help my kin.
People like talking to you, cowboy. They can't help sharing their lives with you. Whatever it is about you, folks are always going to prefer talking to you over killing you.
I surely do hope you're right.
You know my big secret already. I wouldn't have told it to you if I didn't believe in you.
Well, that's mighty kind of you, Crimson. I'm humbled.
Quit it with the aw shucks stuff. Now you're just trying to be cute.
And making success visit.
Oh, hey, it's my little buddies. How's it going, kids?
Bad.
I'm sorry to hear that, Maxie. What's going on?
Make some room, Kinder. I've got customers to serve. Go talk in the kink room.
Would you like to chat in the kink room, Maxie?
I would like that very much.
So what's going on, Maxie?
My boss yelled at me today and made me sad.
Well, what happened?
Someone injected a malicious SQL query into our API and used it to execute code. We did not have our queries parameterized, so they were able to drop the user table entirely. I warned the backend developers that this would happen, but I got all of the blame.
That sounds like a real mess, Maxie. Reminds me of the time I forgot to lock the gate on a cattle drive. By morning, every last cow was gone, just like your, user table thing. Maybe your boss was hopping mad, but I bet next time they'll listen to you.
Am I the only one who is now aroused?
No, Reinhardt, I am also aroused.
Okay, get on over here and pass me some neck.
Leave my Arterian alone.
Oh, dang it, what's wrong with me tonight? You must be getting real sweaty under that collar.
Wouldn't you like to know, Süße? I feel as though all my worries have been sucked away.
I am well acquainted with this feeling, Hazi.
And you will be once more.
I think that's my cue to get to my coffin.
You scared the American away, Maxie.
I suppose I am a very bad girl.
All right, I'm out. Bedtime for Sam. I'll see you kids later.
Samuel, greetings.
Oh, hey, Andy.
What is wrong, my friend? You don't seem your chipper American self.
I guess I ain't too happy to be seeing tonight's client. I'm still feeling the tongue lashing she gave me last time.
Ah, yes, the Senora d'Este. She certainly has a way with words.
It ain't that. It's just this sense I get. Like she thinks I can be a certain way just because she tells me to.
Aha. At least that makes her chord distortion clear, doesn't it? You know what it is, of course.
That lady's got control fallacies out the wazoo, and they've given her centuries of stress.
I do not know this term, wazoo, but you are the woman who chooses immortality so that she can ensure her family makes the correct decisions, probably has some control issues.
And taking out her stress on me.
Do not take her criticisms too much to heart, my friend. You are simply a convenient target, an element within her control.
That still don't make it much fun.
I will not deny that Senora d'Este is a confrontational client, but take her presence as a gift, however you can. A woman so powerful in her time has much to teach us. You have all the tools you need at your disposal to help her. Consider your approach.
All right, I think I'm ready.
I will leave you to meditate then. Be well, Samuel, and let this 3,000-year-old tell you, you are a fantastic therapist.
Oh, gosh. You're gonna make me blush. Get on out of here, boss. I can handle this.
I know you can.
I think I'm ready. And here she comes. A deep breath. Now, howdy, Senora. Nice to see you again.
Liar. You are as pleased to see me as I am to see you, therapist.
We're gonna get straight into it, huh? All right, lay it on me. Why ain't you happy to see me?
Because you are a worm.
Yeah, I've been called a lot worse. You're gonna need to be more specific than that, Senora.
You are a worm because of the way you wriggled into my mind the last time we spoke, leaving behind loathsome doubts. The only reason I am here is to confront you for your beastly behavior. I come to you in crisis, and you suggest that I am the cause of my own woe. Aren't you supposed to help me?
Senora, you came in here telling me that Art is dead. How am I supposed to help you with that?
I don't know. But telling me that my existence has been a complete waste of time is not comforting.
I definitely don't remember saying that, Senora. What I said is that you ain't gonna change the world for anyone, but that doesn't mean your work wasn't worth anything. That's what I call a control fallacy. Senora, you're one person. One powerful, intelligent, and talented person, but one out of billions. You can't expect to reach everyone. Doesn't matter how good the art you produce is. It ain't gonna help a fellow like me who grew up without ever having heard the name Michelangelo.
Michelangelo? Who is Michelangelo?
The guy what painted the Sistine Chapel. Michelangelo.
Michelangelo did no such thing. Perhaps you are thinking of a man from New Jersey, or a turtle. It is Michelangelo.
Senora, you want to talk about wasting time? What's using me as a punching bag doing for you?
Very well. I will speak plainly. I am angry with you, Mr. Walls. Yes, perhaps not all I did was a waste of time, effort, and pain, but to think that much of it was, this is most horrifying.
Maybe it'd help if we looked at that wording you used. A waste of time, effort, and pain. Even if you didn't achieve your goals in them efforts, you can't just say they were a waste of time. Now, if you were sitting in bed for 400 years watching bad TV, then I might agree with you.
A disgusting notion. I am already dead. I do not need my mind to actively decompose by watching Batflix's latest trash.
So maybe let's reserve waste of time for trash, huh? I can see why it'd be upsetting to see something you put a lot of effort into not work out.
It is more than upsetting. It is devastating. I did not just fail to bring the understanding of true beauty into the world, I failed to bring it to my own familia. I watched them die, Mr. Walls. It was not the physical death that caused me the greatest pain, but the spiritual death. They had no care for the Gonzaga name nor the Deste name. Despite my sacrifice and all my efforts, they pissed away my legacy.
Ooh boy, sounds like there's a lot to unpack here.
It is a dark and painful story, Mr. Walls. A story where my greatest joy turns to ash, and I was powerless to stop it. When last we met, did I tell you about my son?
No, I don't think so.
Federico. Ah, my dear Federico, my little clown, my delicate artist, my beautiful boy. I suffered for him, Mr. Walls. I put up with my husband, Frankie, and all his brutishness, all his licentiousness. All for Federico. I raised him to be intelligent and clever, to understand the gentle arts and philosophy. I raised him to be a Deste. But for all my efforts, I could not cool his Gonzaga blood, and it persisted for a century, to the ruin of our house.
I hate to break it to you, Senor, but every kid's got two parents, whether they know them or not, and kids have got minds of their own.
I refuse to believe that we are trapped by our blood. What was my destiny as a girl? Men of my time said it was to be servile and docile, a political pawn. What saved me from that fate? Knowledge, study, an appreciation of art, music, history, and literature. In the same way, I should have been able to save my son.
Why do you think you should have been able to save your son?
I was his mother. If I did not save him, who could?
I'm not saying someone else could. I'm saying that responsibility to save your son, that you should save him, doesn't line up with the truth. It ain't some kind of destiny for one person to save another.
Clearly, it was not my destiny to save my son. But my failure did not end with my darling Federico. I was only 153 when the once great Gonzaga house surrendered all its honor to the hated Spanish. I stood by, useless as a statue, as the Gonzaga name burned in the war of the Mantuan succession.
What's this War of the Mantuan Succession all about?
Do you know nothing of history at all? Oh, very well. It all began because my fool of a great-great-grandson, Vincenzo II, did not listen to me. Instead of dutifully procreating with his wife, he decided to impregnate mistresses. When he ate himself into the grave, the line of succession was broken, and the French and Spanish swarmed upon my home like cockroaches. I killed a great many of them myself, but it was not enough. Eventually, the Gonzaga lands were given away to both countries. Of course, this is common knowledge. I would have had your tutors beaten.
Senora, the only tutors I ever had showed up after eating a can of baked beans.
Disgusting.
The hated Spanish? You say that like everyone hates the Spanish.
Must I mince words with my therapist? Naturally, I do not include the Spanish among those who hate the Spanish.
I don't hate the Spanish. I've known plenty of fine Spaniards.
I doubt you know much about fine company, but your pedantic point stands. Not all hate the Spanish. Very well. From now on, I shall say, the Spanish, who are hated by myself and sensible persons.
Oh, we can talk more about the Spanish later. So wait, there's a whole ass war going on and you're supposed to stop it? How's that work?
I gave up my humanity to guide my familia through the ages. If I could not do that, what was the point of becoming undead?
Senor, being a vampire gives us a lot of powers, but it doesn't give us the power to control a single human being, let alone a whole dynasty of them. When the heck have we ever listened to our betters? I ain't no historian, but I know enough to know people are liable to making the same mistakes over and over again. Humans have got that whole pesky free will thing that makes them do dumb things.
Perhaps you are correct. Stupidity is inevitable. I understand what you are trying to do, Mr. Walls.
What am I trying to do, Senora?
You are trying to tell me that I have been living a lie for more than 400 years.
I ain't doing anything like that, Senora.
Do not fret, peasant. We are in agreement. I have been living a lie. We all have. As I told you last time, I know my own foolishness. But time has not made my mortal concerns fade. In my mind, I know that virtue, love, chastity, wisdom, honor, these kinds of words were created by men to make us supplicant. But, fool that I am, I still love the idea of virtue. I have loved it ever since I was a child.
It ain't foolish to have ideals, Senora. Wanting to better ourselves is maybe the thing that makes us human.
Perhaps. But whose better do we strive toward? That I follow the better of old perverts is what makes me foolish.
Senora, people have been following the ideals of old perverts for thousands of years. Why are you a fool?
Do not mistake, Mr. Walls. We are all fools.
Oh, well, that's better then.
Mind your tone. I will tolerate a fool, but not an impertinent one. As I was saying, my folly was to fall in love with these ideals as a child. I used to love all the tales of Roman mythology. I saw myself in all the goddesses. I saw my strength and chastity in Diana. In Minerva, my wisdom. In Venus, I saw my timeless beauty and romantic nature.
Romantic nature?
Romantic nature? What a wretched parrot I hear. Do not look at me so. Yes, I was a romantic. Until reality came crashing down upon me. Look at this painting I had commissioned.
What am I looking at? I don't know much about art.
The figures standing upon the arch are Venus and Mars. Mars is portrayed by my idiot husband, Frankie. Beside him, I stand as Venus.
Oh, I'm not sure where I'm supposed to be looking.
You may appreciate my beauty, peasant, but do not let your eyes linger upon my once supple body overlong. This is art, not pornography. But look closer and you will see that even this art is a lie. This is the dream of a foolish girl. To be enjoined in pure romantic love with a handsome warrior. I believed so hard, Mr. Walls, that I thought I could make it true. But this handsome man is not Frankie. This is Frankie. He is not Mars, but Vulcan.
Well, he's got some abs. I'll give him that.
Yes, I did not shy from truth. But see how love's aim goes amiss and strikes his gangrenous penis rather than his heart. See the grapes behind him, for the drunkard is never far from his true love. See how he flails helplessly, as if begging a true warrior to put a sword in his belly.
I'm sensing we've got some work to do around your husband.
Whatever gave you that impression? The man was created solely to crush my view of the world and my place in it. Naturally, I might have some issues around him. I now believe that Frankie was the truest man I ever met. That is what broke my heart. I maintained the illusion that he was my Mars because that is what I needed. I was not ready to face the truth. Oh, but I knew. Even as a 15-year-old girl, I knew. But I could not accept that I was married to the legendary penetrator of Mantua. Is it any wonder that I prefer the lie of Virtu? Is it any wonder that I still prefer to believe it? The problem is men. You are all weak animals who would give up your dignity for an evening in the company of Lucrezia Borgia.
Hold your horses there, Senora. I don't even know who the heck Lucretia Borgia is.
She is the inventor of twerking. All men flock to her, as I'm sure you would. They say she was blonde, but she looked like a redhead to me. You know what they say about redheads. Kissed by Lucifer.
Dang, Senora. Your overgeneralizations are building up and making you see whole groups of folks as awful. Now, I know you got your reasons for feeling the way that you do, real personal ones, but recognize where your experience is making you narrow your thinking. I mean, Senora, I'll be straight with you, as you're a tough lady. Here's where I think it's coming from. You're comparing people to gods, including yourself, and everyone's failing that test. Frankie weren't never going to be Mars. You weren't never going to be Venus. You weren't born out of no shell.
And you will never be anything but a peasant.
Heck, Senora, I'll be as surprised as anyone if I get invited to a high society dinner. I can tell I'm hitting a sore spot, but maybe that means that's what we've got to focus on.
I do not like you, Sam Walls. But you are correct. I betray my own purity of spirit with my anger. But I say, why should we not aim to be like the gods? Humanity is not worth preserving when we are such petty creatures.
Wait just a minute there, Senora. Humanity ain't worth preserving? I say you're wrong. Damn wrong. Look at yourself. Look at what you've created. Ain't no goddess has ever done what you've done. You brought some of the finest art ever produced into existence. You ran your own city, which is something I'm pretty sure Venus never did.
I suppose that is true. Our mortal concerns seem so pedestrian, though.
Senora, humanity is all we got. Even if we're immortal, every word we're speaking is a result of our humanity. Yeah, we make a lot of mistakes, and some of us sound like peasants, but all that messiness is worth something. It makes us who we are. Senora, I don't think you're a goddess. I think you're way more interesting and impressive, because you're real.
Well, you have great wisdom for a peasant, Sam. And your kerchief is a fetching shade of red that matches your eyes.
Well, thanks, Senora. Let's focus on you, though. What happens if you're not that perfect goddess?
I suppose I have always felt that if I could not live to my ideals, I would be left with nothing. I would be discarded like Frankie's mistresses and die of some sex disease. Oh, Mr. Walls, I know you speak the truth. I wielded great strength in an age where women were not respected. But I alone feel the weight of my family's collapse, so I feel responsible for it. But I was the only person capable of preserving my family, Sam. That is what makes my failure so poignant.
Senora, what if you weren't the only person capable of preserving your family? What if no one person was?
I don't know. I never considered such a thing.
Well, try to consider it now. What if you accepted that whatever was going to happen to your family was going to happen?
You sound like a Calvinist.
Never mind with the labeling for now. How would you feel if you knew nobody can control what happened to the Gonzaga house?
I think I would feel relieved.
Senora, whatever happened to your family, fault never belonged to you. You were the one who named yourself responsible. No one else did. Look at who you are. And I think you can be damned impressed at who that lady is.
Damn you.
Too late, Senora. Look, let's wrap up tonight, huh? I think you did great. You probably got some stuff to think about.
Yes. Thank you, Sam. I will see you in a month.
Of course, Senora. I'm looking forward to it.
Goodbye, Sam.
Samuel, it appears you have an admirer.
Oh, shucks.
I think Isabella d'Este has liked fewer than 5 people in her hundreds of years of existence, and you are one of them. Remember, though, that romantic entanglements between a therapist and client are absolutely forbidden, in case you are tempted.
Come on now, Andy. I ain't gonna do anything like that.
Of course, should the mind wander into fantasy, that is entirely acceptable.
You're just messing with me now.
I could not help it. It's rather cute. The First Lady of the Renaissance and humble cowboy Samuel Walls. Quite a picture, isn't it?
Okay, that's it. I'm getting a drink.
I'm sorry, Samuel. Please, drink. Ask Crimson for the Royal Virgin. It's my very best. I think you deserve it.
Yeah, whatever. You have a good night, Andy.
Rest in peace, Samuel.
And I thought I had family problems. I need me a Crimson Special after that one. Howdy, Crimson. Think you could fashion me up one of them blood cocktails?
I reckon so. Got a lot on your mind tonight, cowboy.
Yeah, just thinking about family stuff. I got this client who's got some real tough family issues to go through, and it got me thinking about my own. Or my lack of family, at least.
You got any family left?
I've got a great granddaughter kicking around apparently, but she's got no connection to this old cowpoke. Not sure what she'd say if a man dressed like a cowboy introduced himself as her vampire relative from the 1800s.
I see your point. Sounds like you don't have many family problems then.
I reckon so. Family means a lot to my client, though. I hope my perspective's still useful.
How do you think she's handling her therapy so far?
I think she's doing pretty well, honestly. She spent a long time judging herself by her family's achievements, but I think she's starting to recognize the fruitlessness in that.
Seems like you don't need her family to be able to give her some hope.
I suppose not. Rich family problems were never going to be my specialty anyway. You got family back home, Crimson?
Yeah, I've got some family. We don't talk too much. I went a little wild after I got my diagnosis. They're not too fond of my lifestyle choices, but hey, at least I'm alive. And I get to hear them gossiping about how I don't age.
Well, you chose a good age to stop getting older. I often wish I weren't such a dusty old corpse, but death comes when it comes.
Sometimes he's still waiting for me to give him an opening.
Death always is. Pardon me for asking, but is there a reason you're choosing not to be a vampire?
There is, but I'm not talking about it tonight. A little mystery makes life a bit spicier, don't you think, cowboy?
Oh, I wasn't trying to pry or nothing.
Bullshit. I know you're curious. Here, consolation prize.
But what is it?
Black Widow. Black stuff's just food coloring. Figured you were in the mood for a scary lady tonight.
Thank you kindly, ma'am. Think I'll take this to my coffin for a quiet night.
You do that, honey. And don't spill in Andy's coffin. He'll act like he's not mad, but you know he's mad.
Why should I be upset? What has happened has happened.
Not bad, cowboy. Get the hell out of here.
Okay, I'm going. See you later, Crimson. There we are. Gotta get me one of these fancy coffins for back home. Now, let's see. What am I in the mood for? I think I'm either gonna find a passage from Little Women that suits me, or I'm gonna watch Shemp get smacked in the head with a hot iron. Or I'm going to bed. I can always turn to the Outcuts in my times of doubt. Somehow they got above it all and started exploring humanity. Now, where was that line? All right, here in Chapter 8. I am angry nearly every day of my life, Joe, but I have learned not to show it, and I still hope to learn not to feel it, though it may take me another 40 years to do so. Yeah, that sounds like the Senora. Hope she doesn't have to wait too much longer, and that I'm not making it worse. Well, that's enough fun for one day. Good night, son. See you in hell.
Samuel, greetings. I believe you are seeing our actor friend tonight, are you not?
Yeah, I guess so. I still ain't sure I'm the right therapist for that fella.
There may not be a right therapist for him, but let us think positively. He has put himself in your care, and that is a tremendous step.
Yeah, I guess so. I'm thinking it's gonna be an uphill battle, though.
At least his core distortion is clear, don't you think? You know what it is, I am sure.
It's personalization, right?
Of course, a distortion common to many with narcissistic tendencies.
Yep, it's the Edmund Keane show, all day, every day.
I recognize your disdain, but pause a moment. It must be difficult for Edmund to make everything all about him all the time, don't you think?
He doesn't have to make everything about him, though.
He doesn't know that. Keep digging, Samuel. You will find his truth. Choose your distortions well.
I think I'm all holstered up now.
Very good, Samuel. I wish you patience and compassion. Good luck.
See you later, Andy. All right, now what did Andy teach me? Breathe. I think I'm ready. Right on time. I think I hear him coming. Hey, Edmund, good to see you. How you been feeling these past few weeks?
Empty, my dear boy. Empty. I am but a vessel made for a single purpose. But alas, and alack, that purpose is in supply most rare.
You mean acting, right?
Aye, that's the rub. Acting, my dear boy. Acting. My thespian blood goes rancid with stagnation, and the only cure seems to me irreprehensible now. I do not wish to face these mortal directors, for they dare to tell me my art.
Ain't that what directors are supposed to do?
Oh, my dear boy. Some are born great, some achieve greatness, and others have greatness thrust upon them. No director can thrust greatness upon the already great. In mine own case, mine greatness hath already been achieved.
Well, maybe you can help me understand a little better. You said that greatness was thrust upon you, right? How did that happen?
Ah, you are curious to hear what circumstances created this actor non pare. I cannot blame you. Well, recounting such a history will please me indeed. I first rattled the foundations of the stage as a mere babe. Indeed, too young for memory, and yet old enough to command attention. Clad only in swaddling cloth at the age of 4, I was Cupid himself. But my arrows seemingly went astray, for the entirety of the audience fell in love with me. It is the stuff of legend, for tender as my mind was, I could not bear witness to my own greatness, but it does prove that I was indeed born great.
But you said greatness was thrust upon you.
It was a matter of necessity. You may not guess it from my gentle speech, but I am no lordling. Selfishly, and surely to spite me, my father shuffled off his mortal coil when I was but a babe in arms ere I ever graced the stage. It left my mother and myself in dire straits.
Hold on a sec. You said your old man died selfishly. What do you mean?
Well, what kind of a father drinks himself to death when he has a beautiful baby son at home? I at least waited until my son was older before I did the same.
Eddie, come on. Listen to yourself. I'm sure you didn't die to spite your son, just as your pa didn't die to spite you. I ain't gonna deny his choices hurt you, but they weren't all about you.
Forgive me then. 'Tis ever the fate of an actor to feel every emotion more keenly. The situation my mother and I were left in was most precarious. We were the lowest of the low, you see. We lived in the rookeries and begged for our bread. But he that hath wit must make content with his fortune's fit. And oh, did we beg. She was my Queen Gertrude, and I her filthy little Hamlet. Did I mention I played Hamlet at age 14?
No, I hadn't heard that.
Well, anyway, my mother was a competent actress, but it was my wit alone that saved us from destitution.
It sounds like your mother did a lot for you. I'm sure the people loved you, but could you have done it alone?
I suppose my dramaturgical purpose would have been lost without a scene partner, but it was I whom the throngs came to see.
I ain't saying that ain't the case, but you might be disqualifying your mother's contribution to your greatness, right?
I don't see how that is relevant, but I suppose so. Let me continue unabated, sir. Forsooth, I was so prodigious that, at the age of 7, I garnered the attention of one Reginald Flopbot of the Worthington Flopbots. 'Twas he who paid to get me off the streets and into the dormitories. He said, "Edmund, my cherub, the streets are not for you. One day you will be the greatest of actors."
Hey, how about that? You went and proved him right.
Piffle. Master Flopbot never gave a fig about my potential. I was a prop to him, a symbol of his generosity and high breeding. Every month he would stage an elaborate party with all the well-to-do society of London. The dandy fop would stand upon a dais and announce himself as the saviour of the city's poor. That was my cue. I would be lowered down from the rooftop, wearing naught but swaddling clothes and a set of opulent wings. The gentry's delight was my dungeon, but I would flit among them, reprising my breakout role as Cupid by shooting little arrows of love at them. At the age of 7, it was most disquieting. At 11, on the cusp of manhood, the shame was too much to bear.
Dang, Eddie, that sounds awful. That Flopbot fella had no right to do that to you.
No, indeed. I remember my last performance quite vividly. The titters and leering glances from the guests linger ever in the back of my mind. And fool that I was, I played my part still. I should have plunged mine arrows into that fool Flopbot's chest instead of shaming myself. I swore that night to never be a puppet again. I stole away and gave myself to the mercy of Poseidon. The bargain was struck, and he swallowed up my hated swaddling clothes and wings. In desperation, I signed on with a mercantile shipping agency. I thought, perhaps, that my body would bend more than my soul. But oh, did I toil! Life upon the sea is most cruel. Biting winds did carve my visage. Low words hardened my heart, and heavy weights left me bent. By the time I had fulfilled my bargain with the Lord of the Sea, I had become an older man, my efforts etched into every crease on my face.
Dang, sounds intense. How long were you at this job?
An age, a life. 6 months, each one a hungry leech torn from my bleeding body. I am convinced this gauntlet was prepared for me alone, for ne'er in history has one so blessed by grace been subjected to such toil.
Eddie, I gotta stop you there. It's gonna be a lot easier to accept your truth when you realize you ain't alone in your suffering. Hell, there ain't nothing more human than suffering, and historically, kids ain't had it so good.
But none suffered as I suffered. A boy such as I was not meant for such misery.
Compadre, I had my first kill and no home at 12 years old. My brother had a stutter his whole life on account of the regular beatings my stepdaddy gave him. Maybe your suffering felt like the only suffering in the world, but it wasn't. And it'll hurt less when you realize you weren't alone. But keep telling me your story. I already know there ain't nobody like you in the world, so don't worry on that account.
Now then, at last, we close the circle, as nature ever demands. I return to London, and into the graces of my dear Uncle Moses and his comely mistress, Charlotte. 'Twas she who filled my dramaturgical quiver with dire arrows, fletched by the bard himself. And when my deft fingers plucked the bow of humanity, at last I was free.
Huh?
I cannot speak more plainly. The good woman taught me the works of Shakespeare, and armed with this knowledge, I conquered the stage and saved myself from toil.
Oh, well, right.
And so, you see, the die was cast from the moment I was born. The stage was made for me, and it was my skill upon it that saved me from the streets and saved me once again from a life at sea.
Eddie, my man, I got some good news and bad news for you. The truth of the matter is, fate doesn't give a stable full of horse shit about you. Ain't none of us are that special. The world ain't waiting for us to show up. It's just gonna keep turning.
Perhaps you are right, my dear boy. You are correct. My success was not because of the fates, but in spite of them. The fates said, Edmund, you are a child of the slums. But I shamed the immortal hags in my own manner. The stage roused my spirit. Thus I knew my destiny lay upon it.
You got it, amigo. You wanted the stage to be your ticket out of the bad days. Maybe that's why you were so successful. Your intrinsic motivation made you keep pushing to be better.
'Tis so. 'Tis so. The threat of the rookeries loomed ever upon my overladen spirit. Acting presented itself as a way to keep myself out of them. It is natural that I should weigh its importance so heavily.
I can see why acting means so much to you, Eddie. I probably feel damn near the same about the things that got me out of my bad days.
Thank you. Then you understand how my alienation from the theater does pain me so. And yet, the cure is as deadly as the illness. These damnable critics! Not a single lifetime among them, and they deign to challenge my interpretation of the written word. They simply cannot relate to my singular experience. I will bare my soul upon that stage, and they will all sneer and malign it on their internet profiles.
You're so certain that them critics are all the same, but I think that ain't being honest with yourself. Not all critics are bad. It takes work to be good at something, so of course the decent critics are gonna be rarer.
What you say rings true. Indeed, although past critics were flabbergasted at my portrayal of King Lear, not all were. And modern perspectives have affirmed that my interpretation was nothing short of brilliant.
Yeah, you get it. I took a look at your Wikipedia entry last night, Eddie. Maybe you've had a few bad critics here and there, but history says you're a legend, and your work speaks for itself. Hell, you were around before film was ever a thing, and people still remember you.
Ah, your words warm me, as an ersatz son for the one we have forsaken. With thy help shall I gird my soul mayhap, and grace the stage once more.
Well, let's talk about that then. What's the biggest thing stopping you from getting back up on that stage right now?
That it all simply might not be worth it. Why should I bare my damned soul when the audience hath not the sight to see it?
Maybe I can ask you a question then. What if there were no audience?
No audience? Do you know what a stage is, sir? It is a platform where life in brief may be portrayed. It is a platform because it is separate from the audience. Without such, the stage ceases to be a stage.
As in, if a tree falls in the woods and no one's around to hear it, does it make a sound?
Simply but elegantly put, my dear boy. Without the audience, the stage loses all meaning, like a monarch without a kingdom.
Just a minute there, partner. You're saying that the stage is nothing without the audience. But I gotta ask you, where does the acting come from?
Ah, but from simple tongues, the purest of queries, narrow in breadth, but as deep as the sea. The source of acting is everything, my boy. The beating of every heart, the cry of every child, the fluttering of a butterfly's wings. The roots of acting are intertwined with those of life itself.
So does acting come from the audience or from everything?
My dear boy, you prove yet again, as the bard oft did, that 'tis the fool who sees the truth as it is. I bow to your simple wisdom.
Thanks, I guess. Let's figure out how we can bring it back to acting. Forget the audience. I know we can't see in mirrors and all, but what do you think of filming yourself?
Brilliant notion. Yes, I shall become my own audience. I shall bring myself to rapture. Forsooth, if I cannot pleasure myself, whom can I pleasure?
We're still talking about acting, right?
Oh, my dear boy, the pleasures of the flesh are secondary to one who knows character above all else. Indeed, we speak of the noble art. I shall do as you suggest. If there is one on this lonely orb that can inspire an artist such as I, it is myself.
I ain't sure I'd put it exactly that way, but I think you're touching on the thing we've been talking about. The motivation's got to come from you, amigo.
We are of one mind, dear boy. Perhaps I left my muse in the mortal realm, but I shall find him once more. Not only for myself, but also for my public. Yea, the masses flock to my Wikipedia page as moths to a flame, each a silent plea for the return of the one true artisan of the stage.
Now hold your horses there, fella. You're reading a little too much into the whole Wikipedia thing. There's 1.5 million reasons why people might be looking you up. I mean, I hear tell the biggest Wikipedia page out there is the one for that coronavirus that got all them mortals all worked up, and I'm pretty sure they don't want that coming back.
And thus dost thou scuttle a burgeoning friendship with the cannons of enmity. Why must you challenge me so?
That's my job, compadre. Ain't we had some good breakthroughs today? We couldn't have gotten there if I'd been busy agreeing with everything you said.
Oh, very well. But I still say you are most vexatious.
I've been called worse. I think we got some homework for you, though, right? You're gonna film yourself and do some acting for its own sake. We'll check back in a few weeks. But Eddie, I think you're doing great. We made a lot of progress today.
Naturally. The human condition is my oeuvre. Nevertheless, you have been a competent guide. You have reminded me of what is most important in unlife. Me. I should like to give you a gift.
Oh, come on. You don't need to do nothing like that.
Nonsense. It is meaningless to me, but it is beyond price for you. It is my headshot, signed with my autograph.
Oh, thanks, Eddie.
Cherish it always. If you help me to find my muse, then it is a gift even more precious. And I will find it ere we next meet. Of that, I promise you.
Well, let's not put the pressure on, amigo. Just enjoy some acting. That's all I'm asking for. I'll see you in a few weeks then, okay?
Verily, so it shall be. Godspeed then, boy. Thou shalt witness me new and on. Farewell.
A job well done, Samuel. I was particularly impressed at the way you challenged Edmund on what acting means to him.
Yeah, he's a weird fella, but I think he's gonna do okay.
It can be hard for our kind to retain our intrinsic motivation. Something must keep him going. I do hope that he will find his. But you, Samuel, must rest. The work you have done in these past 2 months deserves to be celebrated, so do not linger here in this dusty room. Perhaps you can even be encouraged to dance.
I think I'm gonna need a lot more therapy myself to get to that point.
Very well, Samuel. Then let us at least make sure you get well nourished. Find a friendly neck downstairs, my friend. You deserve it. And rest in peace.
Well, they say don't let your babies grow up to be cowboys, but maybe don't let them be actors either. Well, time to dish with Crimson a little. I gotta talk to some more folks, though. Andy's mainly my teacher, so I'm starting to feel like Crimson's my only friend. Hey, only friend.
Excuse me?
What? Oh, yeah, Crimson. Hey, Crimson.
Are you blushing, vampire?
No, that ain't possible.
It's all right. It's nice to hear from a vampire who's younger than Jesus. Now, let's hear how this week went before you go out there and find friend number 2.
All right, real quick. This client of mine, he had a real bad time as a kid. Well, worse than I did, it sounds like. But he found fame early, and now he's talking about fate and how he's destined for greatness again.
Met plenty of destined for greatness folk in D.C. I lost patience for it. How do you think you handled him?
I learned my lessons from the last session. He didn't threaten to jump off a cliff this time or anything. I gave him an assignment to film himself doing something he loves doing. He seemed excited about that.
You're either brave or adorable, Sam Walls.
There's nothing brave about it. As for adorable, well, some have used words to that effect before.
Okay, now I know you're confident enough to get out there. Giddy up.
Here we go. Right to the edge of the dance floor, but not on it. Don't want anyone getting any funny ideas.
Once more alone, I see.
You scared the shit out of me.
But you can't shit. You're a vampire. Know that I see much, vampire, and that I like what I see.
Oh, it's her again. Well, I was hoping to find a mortal friend, or at least a willing Nick. Now, what do mortals of this time talk about? They ever play the classics in here? A little Oh Susanna or Old Folks at Home?
No, they don't. All your favorite songs have been long forgotten now.
Well, what songs do you like?
If I told you, would you know them?
Probably not.
I see.
You see a lot, don't you?
Why don't you tell me what you see?
I see an interesting mortal. Someone observant. Someone who isn't afraid to have their own style.
That is what you observe. It is not what you see.
Well, fine, you tell me what I see.
You see the long vein across my throat. It looks very juicy, doesn't it?
Well, now that you mention it, it does.
Then consent is given. Do not hesitate, vampire.
Shucks, that was something else. You got good circulation there.
I see. And what do I taste like?
Kinda earthy. You could use some iron. What do you eat most often?
I eat a lot of carrots. They're supposed to be good for one's eyesight, and I like to see. I see now that you are tired and wish to enter your state of torpor.
Well, maybe I'll see myself out then.
That's offensive. I'm going to leave now.
Shoot, was it something I said? Well, at least I got a full belly. And now, time for some shut-eye.
Good evening, Samuel. I believe you are seeing the Ancient One tonight, aren't you?